Well, good evening, everybody. This is your host, Mason Sims, and thank you for tuning in to another episode tonight. Joining us is Mr. James Denny Floyd. He is challenging incumbent Drew McKissick for the state chairman, which will take place on this coming Saturday in Columbia at the state convention. Drew is facing a lot of opponents. We have already interviewed Miss Barbara Arthur, who seems like a strong candidate. And I just received word too that Mr. James Floyd had received an endorsement from Colonel Allen West of Texas. So it's definitely a solid endorsement. So Drew's definitely going to be facing some challenges at the upcoming state convention. So what here, but Mr. James Vinnie Floyd has to say about his past experiences and what his plans are to put the SCGOP back on track. So again, my name is Mason Sims, and let's get started. Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another episode tonight. And here with me, I have Mr. James Denny Floyd from Anderson, South Carolina. And Denny, thank you for agreeing to tune in with us this evening.
My pleasure to be here. Really is. It's an honor to be on your show.
Absolutely. So, a lot of the Facebook pages I'm on, they are involved with local politics. With those that maybe not that may just focus on the federal and don't follow the state and local as much, just give us a brief biography. Tell us about yourself.
Uh, I was born and raised in Anderson County. I worked at Michelin Tire Corporation after I got married back in 1979 and worked till about 1989. And uh, we had all the stuff starting up overseas. So one day I just come home and told my wife after 11 years and two daughters, I got to do my part. So I joined the Navy. I was about 30 years old at the time and went in, did 22 years.
Thank you
During
for
that,
your service.
well, hey, you're more than worth it. I can tell you that. Thank you. But out of that 22 years, I was separated from my family about 12, maybe a tad over, because I did finish my seventh deployment by my 14-year mark in. So about every 2 years I was deploying, but in between the deployments, you had to make sure you were ready to go back to a war zone. So you had to do your workup. So it was a lot of time away from family. And, but I'd do it again today because America's worth it.
Absolutely. And to my understanding, too, you recently received the endorsement of Mr. Colonel Allen West as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Matter of fact, it was Tuesday, and he uh, he gave me his full endorsement, and he said that he truly believes that I could take the South Carolina GOP and do something with it for the good.
Well, definitely, yeah. He's a great guy. I was invited to Mark Burns's multicultural coalition ball during the inauguration, and it was an honor to meet Allen West. He definitely seems like a true American patriot.
He is definitely that. Definitely that.
Yes. So with the state convention approaching on Saturday, what do you anticipate it looking like? Because I remember when I went a couple years ago, there's clearly a division between the establishment and the America First that are wanting to bring new ideas to the table. So do you anticipate it being divided? Uh,
Uh, I do. I do. Uh, we always seem to kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, and because too many people have their own agendas.
right.
And that's what causes us great trouble. Um, I mean, you see it even today, last minute, nobody's running. In the last 2 days, all of a sudden, there's a scramble to have somebody running. I've been saying all along I was going to run, and uh, so when you have that, I really don't understand because what did you do for the last 2 years?
That's
I mean,
right.
You had 2 years to work on building the candidate, and then you wait to the last 2 days. I don't understand. That's why we're defeating ourselves. I mean, that should have been worked hard and worked hard all the way up till this election coming up on Saturday, but it wasn't. And uh, we've got so many issues in the state of South Carolina, and I firmly believe they all start. The starting point is with Drew McKissick, who's running the SCGOP. This will be his fourth term that he's running for. Well, before that you had Moore. Before that you had Conley. Well, see, it's just a group that they just seem to pass it on to each other. So you're keeping the same mentality, the same group of people in there. My biggest thing I'm looking at, and I've been retired. I came back home in 2012, and I've been part of been one of the officers in Anderson County Republican Party just since then, and I don't understand how does these people continue on. Sometimes you think, well, maybe somebody's working on the other side to make sure they stay in. It's amazing to me. Uh, I'm retired senior chief. Um, I I've ran stuff, I control stuff, and I've had to be the leadership for many things. And I don't understand leadership here, not the way we do it. I think some good, strong leadership. Do I know everything? No, sir. I sure don't. There's a lot of stuff I'll have no clue on. But I do know there's people, part of good groups and stuff, that can come in and help out. And we, the people, not one person, we, the people, can go in there and start fixing the problems we got. And I'm sure that we're going to walk into a mess, whoever wins. If they beat Drew McKissick, is going to walk into a mess. And it will be intentional because their whole goal is going to be try to make you look bad. I mean, it's a playbook of the Democrats. So, you know, it's time for us to take it back and run it like Republicans, real Republicans, not cutthroat, not stab each other in the back, real true Republicans, what we're supposed to be.
Yes, and I heard of some, I guess it was a funny business going on in Charleston, and I think it was, uh, I guess Beaufort County. I think it was the Drew McKissick side of the Republican Party. They had sent people there to run the meetings, and I guess they kind of, at least to my understanding, they had kind of sabotaged the way that state delegates were selected.
Well, I can't say honestly for sure. I've heard the same thing. I don't put it past them, but I can't say for honestly sure that they did it. But I can tell you this, that is poor. That's just a plain low life American, so-called American, because if you go and take the right of the people to vote who they want, then you shouldn't even call yourself an American. You don't deserve to be called an American. And that is the typical playbook of the Democrat Party. That's to take control just to make sure they're win. Uh, Maybe he took lessons from the Democrats when they cheated Trump out of the presidency that time. I don't know where he's getting his ideas and ways, but I can tell you, if I'm chairman, that will never happen. If people aren't satisfied with me, then they should vote me out and have the right to. If they're satisfied with me, they should have the right to vote for me. I should never have the power to be able to go in and tell anybody how to vote. That is not American. That's stuff that I defended against overseas. And that is stuff how I seen countries run. So, um, This is why, even though I'm not a big Nikki Haley fan, I'm not, I'll be honest, but she did make the comment before, and I said it last convention, that this is we have the most corrupt government in the country. And I firmly believe that to be a true statement. Out of anything else she said, I truly believe that to be the true statement. And we prove it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I noticed one thing too at the last state convention I was in, just the way they selected a temporary president. I mean, they very well could have done like a handwritten vote like we have done with other things, but it just seemed apparent to me that they just kind of rushed through it so that they can get the guy they wanted up there to be the temporary president. And that just didn't really seem very fair or a democracy, if you will.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all. But we lost right off the bat because they had the power to do that. And it's what they heard. So they get to make that call. And we, the people, don't matter. That's another thing that I promise will never happen if I'm chairman. Uh, I'm just sick of corruption. I've got 7 grandkids and 2 great grandkids, and the time I have left in life is very short compared to the time that is behind me. Now, if I don't keep fighting for my family now, then I let them down. And stuff like that, I'm going to fight to the end.
Right? And I'm glad you're doing that. Yeah, 'cause it definitely takes a lot to put yourself out there. 'Cause people are gonna oppose you, and you're gonna get hurt. But it's good we have these people to step up to the plate and do what's the right thing to do.
I don't mind the opposing. It's the corrupt, lying, uh, just dishonest way of doing things. That's the only thing I'm against. I think everybody should have somebody running against them, and I don't care how good they are. It's just to remind you there's somebody there if you fail to do your job. So I got no problem with competition. If I lose, I lose. If I lose fair and square, hey, that's how it's supposed to work.
That's right.
But we don't do things fair and square, and we need
No,
to make sure we do.
yes, they didn't really seem to hide at that convention either. They made it seem pretty apparent or evident what they're wanting to do.
That's right. And they don't hide it after the convention either.
One thing I was going to ask you too is, some people have a positive view of my SCGOP, and others are strongly against it. Like, if you were to be elected as chairman, would you be for or against the my SCGOP?
Uh, I can tell you this. I'm not against the MySC GOP, but that doesn't mean I support everything they do. There might be things I disagree with. If we have somebody decent running South Carolina GOP, uh, I'm going to be happy that we got somebody decent running the SCGOP. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to be happy with everything they do.
That's right. Yeah,
And if
we're
I
not going to
see
agree on
problems,
everything.
yeah, if I see problems, I don't care who it is, I'm going to bring it to light. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm glad they can prove me wrong. But if I'm right, they need to look at fixing what the problem is. Because I'm not right on everything, but I'm willing to listen. And I don't have all this intelligence and ability to sell people something they really don't need or is not good for them. I'm just plain and simple and honest and straightforward. And so I'm not I don't have all that kind of education to do all that, but I got a lot of good common sense. And if stuff doesn't make sense, questions should be asked, and we should get answers, not
That's right.
accepting what comes out of their mouths.
Yes, transparency is definitely the best policy.
That's right.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to mention as well is several people that were running for leadership in Pickens GOP, which is something I did agree with. They were wanting to find more ways to get people involved and to increase our numbers and get and build up truly our grassroots so we can go from there. So, if elected, what were some things that you had in mind to do for to build up our numbers?
Well, I'll say this about numbers. We hear, oh, we got to build numbers. We got to build numbers. I agree, we do need numbers, and we need to build the Republican Party. But what we need to do is get off our rear ends and make sure we increase our numbers with true, good Republican, conservative people. Because look at our Republican Party in South Carolina. They're working themselves to death to bring numbers in, right? But guess the whole United States says we're a purple state. How's that? When we got these huge numbers of so-called Republicans, but yet we're still considered extremely purple state. That's because we worry about numbers and we don't worry about quality.
Yes, quality definitely defeats quantity a lot of times.
That's right. Well, if you got quality, you can always beat quantity. Always beat them.
Yes, and I know that we had mentioned this in the past, but what would you say that the three main issues are with the South Carolina Republican Party, and what would you do to address those issues?
Well, one problem I got is when we got good candidates and or we already have some good representatives. It's weird to me how the SCGOP goes after the good people and promotes the bad people. I mean, hey, that's proven Nikki Haley right, far as I'm concerned. That's proof right there. Um, and what does the SCGOP do? The only thing I know they do is get out and convince people that they did something. Problem is they didn't do nothing. So we got to get in there and actually do something and make the people understand, hey, this is the problem. We've got to fix this. And you, the voters in your counties and your parties, has got to fix it. And if you have chairmen or other people who's blocking it because they're Drew people, get rid of them. It don't mean they have to be along a line with you on everything, but long as they're acting like a Republican, talking like a Republican, and doing like a Republican, hey, replace your bad one with somebody like that. We can start fixing problems. We
Right.
can do it. It's a simple thing. Uh, I don't have a lot of business knowledge. I do have some. I've got a lot of military knowledge. And I can tell you there's a lot of things from the military that can come into play here and fix some issues too.
That's
So
right.
it's time. If South Carolinians really and truly want to fix this state, I can do it. I can do it.
Yes, and like you said too, even though you said that you really don't come from the business background, and that's I mean that's perfectly fine. You can find someone on your team that does have a pretty good business background. That way that y'all could share ideas and get
That's right.
advice from each other.
Well, I've got some business background. I grew up, my father was in business, so I have some business background. I'm not as much as Trump, not even close, but I got enough to make me dangerous because you're going to have to explain to me why you're going to do that. It's going to make
Yes.
sense.
Yes, and I like one thing you mentioned too. I mean, the reality is we aren't going to agree on everything, but
No.
communication is key. Because I feel like that's one thing that's missing is we can't really. I feel like compromise or working things out and talking through things is kind of fading away. It hasn't been as good as it used to be.
Mhm. Well, one thing we, the Republicans, need to do is we got a lot of whiners and crybabies. That's fine and good. But when you're whining and crying, make sure you're bringing a solution to the same table. Don't whine about something you got no solution for or possible solution for, because if you're whining, you got no clue why you're whining.
Right, and
So
that's one.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, this one guy I worked with, he said that like several people were coming with him with problems. He says, okay, well, that's good. You have problems. What's the solution? And they didn't have an answer for him. So
Yep.
you're just gonna come out and have problems, no idea of how to get a solution.
Well, I'm like this too. What we got going on in the state of South Carolina, Drew's side and other sides. It's just we've got some issues regardless. If there's a problem you're whining, you're complaining, you're griping about, and you say it's bad, then go look in the mirror. Because I'm telling you right now, that's the reason it's bad. Because if you do nothing more than complain and gripe, you're the reason we got problems. And we got plenty of them.
Yes, and that's the reason people should be getting into politics. They want to find solutions to problems, not just bring some up with nothing to fix them with.
Yep. Well, I can tell you at one time, I was all about, yeah, I'll run for SCGOP, and I said I was going to do it from the start. But did I really want to? No, I'm 64 years old. I'd like to spend time with my family now because I was gone a lot. But I tell you, it's so bad in South Carolina that I'm willing, excuse me, to put my family on the back burner again, again, because it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. And so this time, I'm not withdrawing my name. If I withdraw my name, then I need to go look in the mirror myself.
Right, and
To the end.
yeah, and same thing with Trump. I mean, he didn't want to run. The main reason he got in there says the people before him weren't doing a good job, and he
That's
knew
right.
that there was issues that needed to be fixed.
And he loves this country.
Yes,
So if he loves this country, I understand that feeling because I do too. And the state of South Carolina is part of that country I love. So I love South Carolina and it needs to be fixed.
absolutely. So, Denny, while you're on the air tonight, is there anything you'd like to say to our viewers?
The only thing I can say is be the solution, not the problem. And if you want to fix these problems here, I'm your man to help you fix the problem. I can't do it on my own, and no individual in this state right now could actually go in there and fix these problems on their own. We we the people, the true conservative Republicans who loves this country, I promise you we can fix this problem. We can fix it quick. As Trump said, it's going to be great.
Yes, and I definitely wish the best of luck to you. 'Cause I know it's definitely gonna be rough in there in this South Carolina State Convention. But yeah, as long as you have God by your side, you'll do just fine.
That's right, because we just celebrated the birth of, I mean, the Christ coming back at Easter time, and I just told everybody before Easter, look at this, just make sure you thank God for the man on the middle cross. because that's why we're here today, and we're having problems because people's forgot about the man on the middle cross.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's just amazing what him and his disciples did. They had a lot of opposition, and a lot of the books in the New Testament came from them writing in a prison cell, but they knew what they had to do.
Yep, it's kind of like Jesus Christ riding in on a donkey. He knew what people were doing, but they were standing there lying to his face. But he knew what was going to happen. Let me tell you, this politics is the same way. It's exactly the same way. And I've said this before. I've had the opportunity to look the enemy in the eye, but I have never seen evil until I got into politics.
Yeah,
And
me and
I
you
saw
both.
true evil.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, politics brings out the worst in people and the worst people.
That's right. Power and money, it just tears them up, and Satan loves them. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Well, Denny, I certainly appreciate your time, and I wish you the best of luck in your effort in the upcoming state convention this Saturday.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. And when you see me, hey, let me know. Come shake my hand because I'd love to shake yours.
Absolutely. I won't be a stranger.
All right. Thank you much.
Thank you, Denny.
Bye bye.
And that concludes our show for this evening. If you have not already, please feel free to click like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates, and also follow our Facebook and X page as well. I hope that everyone has had a great week so far. And tomorrow night, we'll be hosting actually two guests. We'll be having Pastor Mark Burns, who is the spiritual diplomat for President Donald J. Trump, and he actually resides right where I live in Easley, South Carolina. So it'll be good to hear what he has to say and some of the places that he has visited since he accepted the position from President Trump. And also, we'll have Mr. Jeremiah Dew, or some of you may know him as J. Dew, who is the spokesperson for the Greenville Drive and the Clemson basketball team for many years. So it'll be great to get acquainted with him to see what he's currently up to since he has become the spokesperson for Greenville Technical College. I hope that everyone has a great evening and good night to all, and God bless America. Thank you.